2025 committee meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So move.
A second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? We'll now hear from Ms. Southerington and Mr. Clay for a review of proposed amendments to the committee charter.
Thank you, John. In your packet, you'll see the draft HR Comp and Committee Charter. This is for the second time. We have added a few edits since our last meeting in June. Specifically, we added, based on Ron D's suggestion, that we report out on plan design and annual spend for our benefits. The original charter just had annual spend, so we thought that was a great idea, so we added that in. You should see that highlighted on page 1 for you, and then on page 2, we've added in some template language at the bottom of the composition portion that says all trustees are invited to attend the committee meeting, but only members of the committee may vote on matters before the committee.
Is that something we're adding to all the committee charters?
Yes.
Okay.
But why?
John has a question.
I mean, for 16 years, we've not done that.
Well, I mean, I think it's the correct practice. You all can obviously change your bylaws and change the way you're doing it. I think it's just one of those things. I'm speaking for James, he's not here because to his credit, he's the one that identified it. But one of those things that probably to be consistent and accurate, you'd only have committee members vote. I mean, we know that trustees always been invited to all the meetings. But I think if you have a committee, it really should be just membership voting, because otherwise, in theory, you could have an awkward situation where you'd have a majority of non-committee member trustees voting one way and a minority committee voting the other way. If you're gonna have a committee structure, I think it makes sense to handle it that way. But the board controls its own bylaws and rules, so you could obviously change it if you wanted to.
Yeah, so the committee is only making a recommendation to the board.
Sure.
So what we've done, because then that would, if it didn't take any at board meeting, we've done this, pulled out an issue and we have a full discussion. So the idea was, you have an issue, come to the, even on the committee, have it out. We've never had an issue where that happened. So I don't think it's disenfranchising people. And I think I want to encourage board members who are on the committee to attend. And if they attend, they should have a right to vote. Now, again, the board can overrule the committee at any time. So I think, and again, it's never happened, but so I'm not in favor.
So I'll pass that along to Jan. I think the one thing from a legal perspective, I generally agree with you on the recommendations, because it's kind of like it's a non-issue because it's not an actual action anyways. It's simply just a recommendation to the board. The one is a technical matter I'm a little uneasy about is executive session, because as a technical matter, the public body that's meeting right now is the committee, right? Not the full board. And so executive session where we're at, that is the one thing that we're formally doing, right? That committee is deciding we are going to go in executive session. It feels to me like that's one that I would want just the committee to vote on, but I'm happy to get the right experts to look at that question.
And again, I think it was because a non-board member does not get a vote.
Surely.
Yeah, so including executive session. And so kind of like we're looking for a problem, a solution for a problem that doesn't exist. It's not exist. And again, I wouldn't want to I want to encourage board members to attend if they want to attend.
Why don't we?
Can I just say something?
Sorry, I can't see that. Yeah.
So, I mean, I had a long discussion with Mr. Wellens about this. I mean, again, and you're 100% correct. This is something for the board to decide it wants to do. But in some ways, we're kind of doing it both ways. I hear from committee members like, do you expect me to attend all committees? Or, is that an expectation? Is it not? What is the job of the committees? And since the board, most boards, since all committee things have to get a secondary approval at the board level. So in other words, the committee can't decide something except possibly the executive committee, but all other committee members, whatever we decide has to also be approved by the board. So if other board members, feel like they're uncomfortable with what the committee decided, there's their opportunity. The flip side of it, I understand what you're saying, Jack. I don't necessarily disagree because that's what we've done, but you almost end up like the committees being the board, because if all the board members come to the committees and they make all the decisions in the committees, then the board to a certain degree becomes redundant. So I think it's a decision that this board has to make of how much work they want in the committees, and how the committees are supposed to function, and how much work is supposed to come to the board. Because if say 6, 8 members board come to a committee member and a committee and we hash it all out there, and then once we decide it, by the time it gets to the board, those 2 members that didn't come really don't have that much to say about it, because already the board is basically already approved it in committee. So again, it's a choice. You know, Mr. Wellens is not here, and he can probably say it a little better than I am. But ultimately, we all agree it's a choice of how this board wants to operate. We want to put most of the work in the committees and less in the whole board, or vice versa. So, I mean, it's not like I always encourage all board members to come to all committee members so they can voice their concerns, hear what's going on, hear the details and in greater details, some of the issues that come up in committee. To me, that's the advantage. But like he said, I mean, it would be some people would question if you had a committee of 3 people and 9 board members came and 6 non-board members voted no, and the 3 committee who are actually members of the committee, yes, it kind of creates some awkward situations. But again, the bottom line is this is a board decision about how it wants to operate.
Well, why don't, since this is obviously just as I assume wouldn't just apply to our committee, maybe this is something for the governance committee, Mr. Summers, that you could talk about this with Mr. Wellens. I'd love to send stuff to other people's committees.
For a change.
And who will vote on it?
I think, by the way, that's the intent, not to speak for Mr. Summers, but the intent is you're all not voting on this charter. It's gonna go to the governance committee, where, to your point, Mr. Corlett, the intent is to put this in all of the charters, but I would agree with you that that governance committee might be the right incubator for that type of discussion that Mr. Moss and Dr. Walker were having just now.
Does that work with you, John? Sure. Okay.
Find it out there.
Okay.
So,
Hey,
I
John?
guess
Yeah.
John, if I may, I just wanted to support Dr. Walker's sentiment, I think from the board's thoughts from our retreat, that, the concern of the workload and how we have to work together and rely on one another to handle our responsibilities vigorously over a long term, and that the committee empowerment is really the key element there. And I think that is the sentiment, and the proposed changes recognize that sentiment. So as Dr. Walker correctly pointed out, we've got a lot of deliberation ahead on these subjects. So I would recommend that this committee proceed with the proposed changes as they are, but recognizing that we've got probably 2 or 3 more bites of the apple before this stuff becomes codified.
Well, again, so if I'm at a committee meeting and I don't get the vote, I'm gonna pull it out of the board. So you're gonna have 2, you're gonna make things long, you're gonna have a board, and I've done that. You're gonna have, instead of like hashing it out a committee where we want it to be, and I'd rather have 5 board members than 3 board members hash it out. The more the merrier. And again, it's just a recommendation to the committee, to the board, and then the board can, hash it out again at the board meeting or what have you. So, and if someone participates in the argument and the discussion and bothers to come for 2 meetings, I don't want to disenfranchise them. And I think you're going to create more of a headache. And besides, this doesn't happen. When do we have like big votes where there's someone votes no and not a board member? And when do we pull things out of a board? Really rare, right? Tell me when was the last time this happened? So we're kind of creating something.
You're our historian, so.
Yeah.
You are our.
I was probably the one who did that the most. I pull it out of the board. We're gonna have a discussion about it for me, tell you why I'm not voting for it, and blah, blah, blah.
It's rare, but I'd say this is exactly a time to have this discussion when you don't have a controversy. So that way you're not.
Right, and John, no one's disagreeing with that. I think the point, and I think what Mike is always trying to say is there are new board members are coming on and questioning how we've done these things, because some of them feel like you're almost compelled to come to almost all the committee meetings if you want to know what's going on, you want to have a say. That's all I'm saying. So, I mean, you can either put all the power in the committees or all in the board or however you want to do it. And again, it's a choice. I'm happy with whatever the rest of the board is happy with. If you want to leave it exactly like it's been, and as long as it doesn't violate any laws, I'm good with it. As board chair, I've elected to come to as many committee members as I can. That's been my practice. I think you know that. But there are some board members that feel like, what is the purpose of the committees if all they do is do this and then, it's. So I just think it's a choice now. Maybe we can, where we should have, if people want to have more discussion of this, maybe the governance committee is the proper place to have a prolonged discussion on this. We shouldn't take up all the time of this committee because I'm sure they have a full agenda, but we need to kind of find this balance. I understand your point of view, John. I don't necessarily disagree with it, but I just want you to know there are other board members who are not quite as strong on that as you are.
I mean, if you don't show to a committee meeting, you're disenfranchised to begin with, and I just kind of count on who's showing up, that that's being rehashed and all that, right? I mean, so, right, we can't all show. I don't show up to all the committee meetings. I do count on the committee to show up. But if I do so, the idea would be if I saw something on the agenda that I was passionate about, I'd show up at committee and hash it out, and I would expect, I get my vote. If you don't get my vote there, I'm going to pull it out at the board meeting anyway. So you kind of it's going to happen one way or the other. But we can kick it down the road.
I say let's keep moving forward.
Okay,
And,
so moving forward then is that this draft charter then goes to the governance committee for the next discussion.
right, and since Mr. Summers is in this meeting as well, he's heard this conversation, and you're probably on the governance committee too, so. Okay. Okay, next is a workforce update. I think Ms. Southington and Ms. Esposito are going to provide us with that update.
Thank you, John. Wait for the PowerPoint to tee up, but I want to start off by level setting, and next slide, please, reminding folks of our total FTE snapshot. We've been doing a lot of work over the last several months to make sure that we are controlling our labor expenses, and want to report out today on how we are trending on some of those efforts. But just a quick little reminder, next slide, please, that over the last 2 years, we've had a growth increase in FTEs around 1,000 FTEs. And so in the 2025 budget, actually, we were budgeted for 8,871. We're nowhere near that. Mid-year, the alarms went off and we began to really monitor and control the labor expenses.
So Deb, you said we added almost 1,000 employees over 2 years?
Yeah, so in 2023, you'll see there's on average 7,790 employees. And then had we filled all of them in the 2025 budget, we would have been at 8,871 employees. So we've been really striving to control those costs. So next slide, please. I'm going to walk through some of the initiatives that we've undertaken.
Okay, so is the budget now 8,871? Is that still
the budget? Yes, but for 2025.
That was made earlier, but have we? You're probably going to get to that.
I'm going to get to it. So as of I'll just tell you really quickly. As of 9/13, we had 8,136.7 FTEs that pay period for that pay period.
And what's our goal? What's our new goal? I know that was budget beginning of the year. What's our new budget or goal for 2025? What do we want to have at the end of 2025?
So, I mean, I think it's a good question. I think what we're trying to do is just maintain at this point.
So-
Like if you look over the course of the last few months, actually, if you look over the course of the year, we've only added this year between hires and terms, 51.2 new FTEs. So we want to remain stable. It's a pretty stable environment. We haven't grown that much, so just little growth.
Okay, so it says we had 8,133, 2024, now we have 8,328. So that's more.
So the first slide that you're looking at, if you go back one slide, this is an average slide. This is a budget slide, budget deck. These are averages. And when you get a little farther into the deck, we're actually pulling data out of pay period. So it's actual data during that period of time. And
So we want to, at the end of 2025, have roughly around 8,100 employees. At the end of the year, we should be looking at that. And if we're doing that, we're.
yes, and I think I would look to my finance team to validate that or to weigh in on it.
Yeah, Deb is right. The 8,300 has been the average most of the year, but in the recent months, it has, through good controls from management, it's gotten down to the 8,100 level that Deb was talking about. We're trying to keep a lid on FTE growth as much as possible. The budget will be higher than that, will be higher than 8,100 because we have growth and other things built into the budget. But for 25, we're trying to keep that number as low as possible.
Why don't we keep moving?
Yep, let's keep moving. In the next slide, I'm gonna highlight some of the initiatives. You've heard some of these, so I'm not gonna go into too much detail. You all do know that we eliminated 122 administrative positions through the reduction in force back in July. Those positions, I want to call it, have been eliminated in the 2026 base budget, so we're not adding those back in. I think the second bullet point, we disabled the functionality in our system for hiring managers to be able to request to fill a position. And so there's not that automatic put it in approval process, open up to hire or to recruit. And so all positions, if they want to be filled, need to come through our position justification committee, which involves a lot of the executives around this table, where we will review every position before it gets posted, even if it's budgeted. So that position justification committee is going to continue even into 2026. Right now, the functionality of My HR, which is the electronic HRIS system, is going to be disabled at least through the 2026 budget process, so that we'll have an automatic entry from our hiring managers and perhaps even into 2026. So we'll continue to closely monitor our positions that are being posted. We're ongoing monitoring overtime expenses, and we have ongoing efforts to reduce contract labor spend. I want to call out Dr. Maury has done a great job with our Care Rev contract, which is RN staffing. She and her team have been able to reduce our spend between June and September by 30%. So that's a great accomplishment, Dr. Maury and your team. Next slide, please. So this slide, John, what I just talked about a little bit, at our highest point this year, pay period ending on June 21, we had 8,426.3 FTEs. Pay period ending 9/13, we were at 8,136.7. So we have had a reduction since June 21st of 289.6 FTEs. So our efforts are paying off. Next slide, please. So just another graph of trending hires and terms. Again, we've seen this year, 2025, a 51.2 FTE net increase. You can see at the beginning of the year, our hires were outpacing our terms, so we were on a trajectory to really grow. Implemented our control efforts. Really, we started talking about it in April, and you can see in mid-year, the trend lines are going more folks leaving than coming, and now we're seeing this stabilize now here in September. So again, just really trying to monitor the ins and the outs and making sure that our growth isn't exponential. Next slide, please. Okay, one of our 2025 system goals is first year turnover. So our goal is to reduce our turnover within the first year of employment. Our baseline for 2024 was 44%. Our target for 2025 is 42%. If you look down to the right, you see that red little box. We are trending through 9/30 at 35.5%. So we're trending well in our turnover. We're trending well that our first year turnover is decreasing. And we have been doing some work to make sure that we're impacting that positively. During our June meeting, I talked about a survey that we launched for our first year employees. We did a first year experience and engagement survey. And at the June meeting, we didn't have the results, but since then we've been able to take a look at the results. Generally positive results. Obviously, there were some opportunities that were identified, and our team, the HR team, is working with leaders to develop action plans when appropriate. Some of the things that they brought up that we have opportunities on is related to leadership development. We are working on a leadership development training program. Also the onboarding experience, so pre-hire onboarding experience. And so Jen and her team are taking a deep dive into how can we make that more efficient, more engaging, more informative, whatever it is that we do need to make them feel like they've had a smooth onboarding process.
Was it that they thought it took too long, or
So Jen, I'll let you answer that question.
I think just the overall experience, looking at communication, something even as nuanced as directions into first day orientation. But yes, it was kind of all over the place in terms of from the start of accepting the offer through the pre-employment process to that day one orientation. And then some of it did spill into just some of the training as well. So we're taking a look at that as well.
So we'll continue to monitor that through year end, of course. Next slide, please, is our second 2025 goal, which is improvement of participation in our employee engagement survey. So this year, we're launching the survey on October 14th. We'll use, once again, our Perceptix platform. We've been using Perceptix for, this will be the fifth year that we've used Perceptix, so that allows us to trend year over year. The answers, generally, they've been pretty consistent year over year. Every now and then, we'll get a new question in there, so we can't trend on it, just based on what's going on. This year, we're striving at a target for 80%. Our baseline was 78.6%. I'll come back to this group or to this committee in first quarter and give you some high level results on the engagement survey results and talk a little bit about some of the least favorable items this year on the 2024 survey to see how we trended up for 2025, if we trended up, how we trended on those.
So this goes out to folks next week?
Goes out next week.
Okay.
Yep. Goes out next week. And so then we'll always continue to work on action planning with our leaders across the organization, so they are impacting engagement as well. Next slide, please. Next slide, please.
So I just wanted to provide a brief update on some of our recruitment efforts, specifically with some areas that are a little bit more challenging or harder to fill. I'm just going to call out the three that are on the screen. So at the bottom left, we are spotlighting one of our radiologic technologist scholarship winners. She, during her last year of the program for radiologic technology, Metro Health essentially paid for her tuition in exchange for her agreeing to come and work for Metro Health for a period of 2 years. So we're offering that for the Rad Tech program, respiratory therapy, as well as for public safety or the police academy. So from a Rad Tech perspective, we have extended 3 Rad Tech scholarships. So we have some that have started and some that are yet to start. For respiratory therapy, we've extended 5 scholarships. Some of those have started and some will be starting both in December as well as May of next year. And then we do also have several for the police academy who have started as well. So it's a great opportunity to open up a new pipeline, especially in these areas where it's been very difficult or challenging to recruit. The center is just a snapshot of our LinkedIn page. This is actually a specific landing page for radiology and really goes along with our digital recruitment efforts to try to spotlight or highlight areas that are, again, a little bit more challenging, highly competitive. We have also continued to refine our strategy with a search engine marketing campaign. So specifically for radiology as example, we are doing a 2-mile radius around all of the college programs that are specific to radiology. So if someone is searching for a Rad Tech position, it essentially follows them, and again, anyone within that radius. The picture to the right is from the University of Akron, their Bachelor of Science Respiratory Therapy program. Actually really excited to share that we have a new partnership with UA to serve as a lab site for their students. So their students in the bachelor program really can complete the majority of their classroom courses online. This will be the first time that they will have a hands-on experience, exposure to respiratory therapy in a healthcare setting. So again, a great opportunity for students to have that experience, but also have it at Metro Health. The next slide, please. And then for Metro Health Police Department, again, another challenging area to recruit, law enforcement in general. But part of our recruitment strategy is to develop some day in the life recruitment videos to just give a glimpse of what it's like to work in that position at Metro Health. And this is one of the ones that we just recently completed, so we'd like to share it with you.
My mom was a nurse here at Metro Health for over 44 years. She finished out her retirement at Broadway. So I used to, and she ran the shop down at Broadway. So I would come up all the time and visit her because it's a hospital. The way that it runs and the way that it works is a little different than being in another security or police officer capacity. That's what drew me, the connection that they had with the people. I think the unique thing about hospital policing is all those hats that you were expected to wear on a zone car, you're going to wear them all here too. But the important thing is that you're able to spin the plate, or you're able to talk to the person long enough until we get enough people to try to calm the crisis or get them the help they need.
How many of our officers are women?
My-
I just wonder,
Good question. We have a handful of them.
Yeah,
I think the
yeah, I just didn't
percentage is
know if
probably
that was
pretty low,
sort
but
a purposeful decision to sort of focus
Yes.
on women, so.
yes.
Cool.
So that
The
concludes.
officer that was there whose mom was a nurse.
Yeah.
She was legendary, and even
I wondered
after
if
she
Dr. Walker-
retired, she stayed on. You remember? She's like a spitting image of her mother. She stayed on and like ran the gift shop area and would, like it just
Metro,
really like Metro through and through.
that's cool.
So that wraps up our presentation. Any questions?
Any questions? Great, thank you. We are now going to move into executive session to discuss hospital trade secrets as defined by Ohio Revised Code 1333.61 and to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public official and to conference with the public body's attorneys to discuss disputes involving the public body that are the subject of pending or imminent court action as defined by ORC 121.22G. Do I have a motion to recess into executive session to discuss these matters?
So moved.
A second?
Dr. Walker,
Is he-
I need you to come off of mute. And second,
Sorry, I didn't realize I was on mute. Second.
Thank you, Dr. Walker. Roll call, Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Dr. Walker, sorry, so sorry.
Same person.
Mr. Summers?
I did think I had a vote, but I would vote yes.
We haven't changed it yet. And I vote yes. I'd ask the public to step out and confirm that the YouTube stream has been addressed. We're now in executive session.
give me a second.
30 seconds.
Oh. I think you need
Yeah,
everyone.
I was waiting for you to,
Hey, John, and John
Yeah.
Corlett, I've got to beg off the meeting, so I'm going to sign off here.
Thanks, Mike.
Because you're gonna vote, Mike. Mike is one of your last chances. You don't wanna miss it.
We'll see you
All
all.
right.
Bye, Mike.
You're back in public session.
Great. We're now back in public session. Prior to the vote on the resolutions, are there any additional comments or questions? Right. With that, we'll move to vote on the recommendation for suspension of a performance-based variable compensation program for the 2025 plan year. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those, I vote in favor as well. There's no opposed, no abstentions. The recommendation will advance to the full board's approval. With there being no further business to come before this committee, this meeting is now